Hello, it's George Vere here, sitting under a tree. This is episode 8 of. This is the audio one, that won't make any sense, but I am literally sitting under a tree. It's not a metaphor for anything. It's not some old metaphor for, that thing where, you grow Y or whatever. It's not a metaphor, I'm sitting under a tree. And this is episode 8 with Michelle de Swarte, where we talk about a whole host of issues. Now, a little admission, there is a huge jump in quality of Michelle's camera 15 minutes in. Now, I'll tell you why. And it's a bit. I actually forgot to. I just did something wrong, basically. So it goes from a bit crap to really good quality 15 minutes in. So don't start watching it going, I came this to see Michelle and the quality's a bit crap. I won't watch it. Do watch it, because 15 minutes in, switches up and then it's good quality. I'll see you back in a bit. By the way, just before we start, I'm not wearing this because I think it looks good. This
good.
Headband.
Doesn't.
I'm wearing it to keep the hair out of my going in my eyes and that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Well, I didn't want you to spend the whole time thinking he thinks that looks good, and so.
I honestly summed that up in the first 30 seconds. I was like, wow, he's doing it. Okay, he's merging sportswear and a shirt. Why not?
Well, I can do one more than that. I'm also wearing shorts.
Nice.
Just tracky shorts. So yeah. Even more than that. So yeah.
I mean, now you've committed on the bottom half as well. I feel like it is a look, and it actually ain't that bad.
Yeah. Great. Are you lying to me? Because if I now go out wearing that out, will people think that looks good, or will they think it looks like shit?
I think it's about wearing it with purpose.
Okay.
I would say sports socks, brogues, briefcase, also squeegee water bottle. Yeah. Just throw them off the scent. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. They'll be like, who is he? What's he doing? You'll be like, no one knows. I'm going places. I'm also hydrated. I'm never going to sweat. Bye.
Sweat. I think I should have the ones on the wrist as well.
Why not, man?
Why
Just
not?
do
Why
it.
not?
Yeah. Commit.
All right.
Don't be apologetic. Just commit to it.
Yeah, I will. Thank you for that advice.
You're welcome.
So yeah, thanks for agreeing to do this. How are you?
I'm alright, actually. I forgot that it was happening today.
Yeah.
There's so little. I know. I'm so sorry. I've got a gig in the evening, and there's so little going on at the moment. Most of the things I'm doing are just sat at the computer writing. So now, where things are starting to pop up on my schedule, I'm just like, Monday, there's one thing to do, and then my agent messaged me and was like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "For what? For the gig later? I have the one thing to do."
Yeah.
She's like, "No, there's two," and I was like, "Oh my god!"
It just blows your mind, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, I assume you're used to, especially from doing the fringe and stuff. Normally, I assume you're used to going from one thing straight to another, and running around and stuff. But now, not at all.
Now, honestly, I don't know. Can we swear on this? Or not?
As much as you want.
Honestly, fuck all.
Yeah.
Fuck all. So
fuck all is a good swear word as well. I think fuck all. It says something different to nothing. Like if I said what you're doing, you said fuck all. It means a different thing to if you say nothing. I think.
Yeah, I feel like it's nothing with a bit of enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's nothing and there's opinion about it.
Yeah, if nothing could have a little pep in its step.
Yeah.
Fuck all sums it up.
Yeah. So are you in America right now?
I'm in London.
Are you in London?
I couldn't be further from America. I'm in Plaistow.
Yeah. I feel like I've heard of that. Isn't that outskirts of London or something?
No, it's not. It's basically my zip code is actually Stratford, but I'm basically in Plaistow.
Oh, you're not that far from Walthamstow then. That's where I'm from.
No.
Well,
no,
not from where I've lived for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Not far from there at all. Yeah.
I knew I'd heard of it, but I didn't know where. Well, that's good then, because I thought it was 8:30 a.m. and you were doing this in America.
That would be brutal.
Yeah,
I'm really happy that I'm not in America at the moment. Really happy. I have not a day goes past where I'm not fuck, I could be there.
Yeah.
This would be a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Do you think how active do you think you'd be in what's happening in America now if you were there?
Active, how so?
Well, would you be out protesting?
Yes, but I've got a green card, so I'd probably be a little bit more cautious about things. You know what I mean? I'd probably
Can you get that taken away from protesting?
yeah. Well, I think you just need to be careful. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You just need to be careful. You don't want to be getting arrested on a protest if you're not actually a citizen of that country.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just a nice time to be home. It's nice to be around my family and friends, and
Yeah.
also in a country that I can vote in. You know, you feel like you can say a little bit more about what's going on if you actually can utilize your vote in that country.
That's a good point. So to kick us off, do you mind if we do a little bit of sort of a background of what you've done and a little bit about your sort of life up until now?
Yeah.
Great. To introduce you to people, I suppose, who haven't seen you before.
Okay.
Cool. So, I was gonna.
Oh, go
help,
ahead.
but yeah.
Please do.
So you're a model first and foremost. It seemed like that was what you did when you were younger.
Yep. My name's Michelle Diswall.
Oh yeah. Okay.
From South London, and I guess my early years, I left school at 14. I was bartending and doing like minimum wage, minimum effort jobs. I worked in a market.
Wait, sorry. Did you left at 14?
Yeah, I left school at 14,
How
and
did that happen? Were you allowed to then?
no, you're not allowed to, but it turns out if you live in Lambeth, people aren't as bothered as maybe if you lived in a different borough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left school at 14 and just did a bunch of different jobs, worked in market stalls, bagel shops. And once I was old enough, I became a bartender and in Clapham. And then I got scouted to be a model, and pretty much as soon as I got scouted, that was about 19 years old. And at first in the UK, I didn't really make any money, so I was still bartending. Then a New York agent came out, flew me to New York. I thought I was only going to be there for 2 weeks. But when I went there, I actually made some money, which I hadn't made before in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I stayed in the States until this time last year, actually. And so I modeled for maybe the first 10 years out there, and then I got like a presenting job here called The Fashion Show, which was just off the back of modeling. I was like deemed a fashion expert. I wasn't. I think they just needed like someone of color, and I happened to have a fashion background.
Brilliant. Straight in.
Yeah, touch. And so I did a job with George Lamb and Abby Clancy presenting, which is just sort of like all round, just being cute and reading. Reading all
sounds good to me.
It's really taxing. And then after that I started doing stand-up. So I guess I had a different sort of route into stand-up, as in I'd already done some TV jobs.
Yeah.
And then I started doing stand-up. I moved back here in 2010. Did like some more kind of presenting, a little bit of stand-up, did a couple of like really naff TV jobs, and then I just kind of had enough and went back. I did a show out here that got axed in its third episode, and I was just kind of like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? I might as well just go back to America. Like I still was young enough to use my model visa at that point. And I was like, I'd start talking to comics, and they'd be like, "You've been in America. Why have you come back here?" And I'd be like, "Oh, actually, I don't know." They're like, "Well, you can get a visa." I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, I can get a visa. I can get another visa. I should probably leave." So I went back to the States, and then I started doing documentaries for Vice, and I did that up until maybe 2 years ago. I think I did my last documentary. But I did a lot of documentaries for Broadly and Viceland and Vice.com. Covering all kinds of different things, from female genital mutilation to magicians to women who have babies in prison. And
I saw one you did nails, like there was one about nails I saw. You went to like a nail shop, yeah.
Oh, and you know what, right? That doc was kind of weird because I'd done this series with them, and it was called A Day With, and we'd just spent like a couple of months just doing Women Who Did Unusual Jobs, and then I kind of put my foot down and I was like, why aren't we doing we're not doing any women of color. Everyone's just like super white. And then they were like, we found you someone. She's in England. And I was like, oh, I can't wait for the interesting job she does. And they were like, she's a nail technician. I was like, fuck you lot. But anyway, yeah, it was fun. It was fun time.
Yeah. I quite liked her, actually. I thought she came across really well.
Yeah. Oh, no. No, she was lovely.
Yeah, so I saw a few of your documentaries. I thought I really liked the one where you went, where did you go with that tribe who they, and there's no men? That was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Emoja in Kenya.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I really liked that one.
Thank
I think what I really liked, because I saw a few of the ones you did for Broadly and Vice. So what I really liked about it is I think you, as a presenter, you've got the tone right, because like there's enough sort of serious elements of it and sort of getting into the topic, and then there's enough like jokes. I just thought you got the tone of that's really good.
Yeah,
I actually thought that like, did you? Oh, no, I shouldn't ask that specifically
like
that. But no, it's just like, but like your agent should have put you up for the new Travel Man with Richard Ayoade.
Oh, well,
because he's stopped doing it.
No way.
And then Joe Lycett's doing it now. But I just wondered like if you'd had anything with that, because I was like, that seems like the perfect thing for you.
Well, actually, when I was doing all of that Vice stuff, I didn't have an agent.
Oh, really?
I just did it through. I'd got the job with Vice because I was doing this radio show called Cock Talk, where me and my friends would get together. It was for like a pirate radio station. We'd just talk about art and sex and all the things that we were interested in, which I guess at the time Broadly were launching, and it was quite like Vice tone friendly, and we were in New York, and so I didn't actually have an agent. I did all of those jobs via my model agency, actually. But they didn't get me the job, if that makes sense. So at the time I wasn't like up for being put up for other jobs, I didn't have anyone.
I think people listening to this will be perhaps a little bit relieved, or to know that maybe if they're like aspiring comedians or something, that they don't have to get an agent to do stuff. Because I think I've definitely heard that a lot from people, is like there's an awful lot you can do on your own, at least until you reach a certain level. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of problematic, I think, sometimes if you've got an agent early on. So like I had an agent here, but never in the States. And when I left here after just being like a bit dejected, getting let go from a few TV jobs I wasn't passionate about anyway. But when I went back, I was just kind of like, I'm just going to do what I want. And I think it's quite important to be, as naff as it sounds, authentically you, rather than give an agent or someone a bunch of ideas of like, these are all these things that I might like doing. It's better if you sometimes you can't just take the horse to water. You've got to open its mouth and just like shove the water in. And so, I think it can be helpful.
Metaphor. That's a very visual metaphor, that shoving water into a horse's mouth.
Got to open its mouth, fucking shove the
I've never heard that metaphor so violent before. It's normally just you lead a horse to water and let it drink, but this is like almost like dunking its head under the water, forcing it to drink some of that water. Yeah,
I'd like to think, George, like one foot on the bottom jaw, prizing the top open with both hands, and shoving it in.
It's a horrible image. And I had a point about that, but then I got distracted by me saying that about the horse. Oh, that's it. Because the thing is, you can go to these people with loads of stuff, but there's probably someone, like you said, who's doing that anyway, or doing whatever they want naturally anyway. I find that a lot with commercial castings. Like, I feel like my agent puts me up for loads of commercials, right? And I turn up and I'm just like, I always just think, it just doesn't suit me. It's just, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? If you had maybe you found this in modelling?
100. I mean, modeling's different because modelling it's not based around your personality. It really doesn't matter. You're there to be a blank canvas, especially when I was modelling. This was like yesteryear, before people wanted models with personality, before you knew what like Kate Moss's voice sounded like. Right, yeah. It was like a different era, like before body positivity. And so then I never took it personally because you really weren't meant to bring any personality to the forefront. You were just there to be a blank canvas. As a comic, yeah, that feeling inside where you go, oh, this isn't right. That's the feeling. Like that's the instinctive shit that Oprah talks about when she she goes, you knew in the bottom of your stomach, and you're like, I did. And when I first came back to London, and I was doing stand up, and I thought, oh, I'll try it. I had quite a good agent, but we never, although he was great for what he did, we never really worked it out. We never really meshed. And I also didn't just leave and find someone new. Instead, what I did was went back to America and just didn't bother getting another agent until just recently. And now I'm signed with United, which is great. But
shout out.
I think, yeah, shout out. But I think also, I know who I am now.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh my God, can you guide me? It's like, I pretty much know what I want to do and how I want to do.
Yeah. How long do you think it took you to work out, like, who you were, I suppose, as a comic and a presenter and all that sort of stuff? Yeah. Was that deep one?
I think it's ever changing, you know, because you think you think you want one thing. Like when I left here, I remember my friend saying to me, like, why are you leaving? Like, you should stay here and do TV. And I was like, I just don't want to do it. I felt like I was a little bit too old to be doing youth TV, but I was still kind of doing that. And, you know, that it just didn't feel right. And at the time, what I wanted to do is I was like, I want to do stand-up in New York and I want to do documentaries. And then after doing that for a while and doing it, you know, with Vice, which are great, after a while I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So it's ever changing. I don't think you ever hit a point where you're like, I am this person. I think as you get to know yourself better, you know when it's time to switch it up or to move slightly in a different direction.
Yeah. And now I suppose that can be difficult as well for people if their agents or management or whatever are pushing them towards certain things. Like, did you feel like you were getting offered the same sort of thing over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing is, I mean, things have changed a lot since when I first started doing TV out here. And I haven't actually done TV out here for a while, although I've got some things that will be out in a few months. But there was like a need for people of color. And so whether you were right for the job or not, they just kind of needed to fill a quota. And it's the same what was happening a few years ago, hopefully not now so much, where all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, we don't use any female comedians. And so what was happening is they were just in this rush to try and get women to fill a quota for them. And then what you had was a woman who's maybe got a couple of years of experience sat next to a comic on a panel show who's been doing it for 20 years. And then everyone goes, oh, women aren't that funny. And you're like, no, who casted this? Because you know that there's women out there in this country that have been gigging for the last 20 years that are amazing. But for some reason, you didn't pick them. You've picked this young girl who's been doing stand-up for maybe 2 years, and now she's sat next to a guy who's been doing it for 20 years and doesn't seem as charismatic. It's like, fuck you lot. So I think that at that time, there was a lot more of that, where they were just kind of like, oh, this is great that you're of color and, you know, you used to model, so you're easy on the eye and you're also funny. And so we're going to put you here in this space that maybe you're not experienced enough for at that time.
Did you feel like, did you notice that, like, did you like look around and think like, I feel less funny than these people if you're getting put in the same spaces? Because that must be a tricky thing I don't know if you felt that or not, but.
Yeah and no. Like in some instances, yes. It's not, I wouldn't necessarily say like inadequacy. I didn't necessarily feel inadequate. I was just kind of suspicious of the casting process. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
There might have been spaces where I would have been better.
Hmm.
then you know what I mean. It's kind
Yeah.
of.
No, it's interesting because I'm surprised that you.
Please excuse me. Sorry, I
Yeah, no
haven't turned
worries.
my phone off.
I thought now might be a nice time to take a little break, considering the phone went off and all that sort of stuff. To tell you again, if you've listened to all of these and don't know what Stop Hate UK is, you are an ignoramus. Stop Hate UK is one of the country's leading anti-discrimination organisations, and they have a 24-hour helpline if you need help, if you want someone to talk to about discrimination issues, and also if you'd like to donate them some money. If you're feeling generous, please do. All the information at stophateuk.org. I hope I've been saying that right as well, because I've said stophateuk.org now for 8 episodes. So if that's wrong, I'll look like a right tit. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Cool. So I will see you at the end. I want to talk about Vice again a little bit more, and the documentaries. So I really like them. Was they topics you wanted to look into, or was that something that was put on you? Because they seem to, unless I'm wrong, all sort of roughly be around sort of female empowerment.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the series that you watched or the ones that you've watched.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me they were I was all right with speaking to women. That's kind of, I mean, there are definitely people that are like, what are your interests? And would you be interested in doing these topics?
Yeah.
You know, so, and then, you know, you need to go off and do a fair amount of research yourself and make sure you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think the reason I'm like interested in them, I think, is because like I would absolutely, I think that seems like such a fun thing, is to go and make documentaries about something. I've always loved watching that, and it's something I'd really like to do. I was in a comedy duo up until maybe 2 months ago, and I've done like a lot of comedy for the past 5 years. I've been doing it a lot, but this is the first time I'm sort of considering what I want to do next. And so it's a really weird time. So I've been thinking about what I want to do now. And yeah, I tried stand up once last year, and I actually hated it.
Oh no, it's not fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
fun. It's
But
not
this
fun
is
at
what
first.
everyone says, is that like, oh, you should go and do it again. But whenever I've looked up anyone who's ever done stand up for the first time, they go, the first gig was amazing, the second gig bombed. Right? That's what I've
Really?
always heard. Is that not your case with you?
I mean, when I did my first gig, I was just like, okay, I done it, and I don't think I'm gonna kill myself
Okay.
tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Okay. All right. All right.
I didn't leave and be like, woo, this is amazing. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I've done it, but like, this is not fun.
Yeah.
And I felt like that for years.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Right. Well, I feel a bit better now because I hated it.
Yeah, I think that's normal.
But I realised in hindsight I didn't write any jokes. So like,
That can be a problem.
yeah, I just sort of thought of, I sort of just went and was like, oh, I found these words that are quite funny, and I sort of read these words out that sounded a bit funny, and people were like looking at me confused, and then I tried to like, someone made a comment, and then I tried to deal with it. It was so awful. I'm glad that there's no footage of it that exists. It was fucking awful, and I just think, I don't know, it's something really. I think it was like an arrogance, because I've been doing comedy for like 5 years. I was like, oh yeah, of course I can do stand up. It's just what I do anyway, but just me, and just like talking to an audience. But it's not that. It's not that
Well,
at all.
it sounds, I wouldn't be disheartened. It sounds like you didn't prepare.
I didn't.
It
Yeah.
sounds like you went there and thought it's going to be like doing it with my double act,
Yeah.
and we can just have a muck around.
Yeah.
And you don't have that luxury when you're doing stand up, because you need some things that are guaranteed. And then over time, when you learn those things, then you can have a muck around. But you can't go in having a muck around. Otherwise, you'll be up there and being like, oh, what is this feeling? Oh, this is dead air. You know what should be there? Laughter.
A joke.
Guess what? I don't have any punchline for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, so then you're coming with pure bravado. I would definitely give it another try.
Yeah.
I would actually write a set. It only has to be 3 minutes, let's
Yeah.
say. Really, all you want to do is introduce yourself to the crowd, because they don't know you. So you can just say, I'm from, where I'm from is like. I'm the kind of person who does this. This is my job. It probably sounds silly to you because of this. I look like this. Just to get you through it. It doesn't have to be like fucking gold. You just need to get through 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you can do that and people laugh when you finish speaking, I think that's a good signifier of a punchline. And continue like that, and then have another bash.
That was very succinct and clear advice. Thank you. I feel like I've seen so many though of the I look like this. I think I'd struggle to.
It doesn't fucking matter. You know what? It's an exercise.
Right.
It is. You're not going to be getting up on stage. Like when I first started, pretty much my whole set was going, I'm Jewish and I'm black, which means and it was like, I would die and cringe and, like I would never say that stuff now. But at the time, that's what I needed to say just to get me through it. I needed to be like, I'm Jewish and Jamaican, which means I'm Jamaican. Like I would rather, sit.
Was that one of your jokes? That's a good
yeah. No, it's terrible.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. There you go. Okay, so cool. You got jokes, George. You got jokes. So what I'm saying is, of course, you've seen loads of that. That's not the point. The point is to be able to get up and just get through the 5 minutes and introduce yourself. After a little while, you're not going to say any of that shit, but it's just to get through the 5 minutes. And I think the easiest way to do that is just to talk about yourself. And then over time, you can start being like, hey, what about Chris? See? Cool. But I just think as an exercise to get through it really doesn't matter. Yeah. And you'll hate it in years to come. Like now I look back at my early sets and I'm like, how can I burn the internet? How can I burn the internet?
Somehow get it taken down.
How can I get, and even now, like, because, like someone will go, oh, I saw some stuff that you did. And I think, oh my God, that is so old.
From 2014. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like how can I get in a time machine and be sick that night so it never got up? But what are you going to do? It doesn't really matter. No one gives a shit about this more than you. I always think that helps.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
I tell myself that always. I'm like, no one cares about this more than me. No one's lying in bed cringing like I'm cringing. No one's in bed going, oh God, Michelle was awful. No, they're not.
But that's so true. Like, even if there's an old video of you that you don't think is very funny or whatever, firstly, there'll be someone who thinks it's really funny. There always is with these sort of things. And secondly, like, they'll just stop watching it. Or like, do you know what I mean? They won't be sitting there for hours thinking, oh God, this is so cringy. She should feel so embarrassed about this. They don't give a shit. They can move on to another video. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I was just thinking as well, because you said about it, how could you stop if you wanted to get rid of the internet? Is there somewhere in Google, in like Silicon Valley, where you could literally break in, start a massive fire and it would completely decimate the internet?
I feel like you could go to all of that trouble and then Putin would like pop his head up and be like, I've got a backup, bitches. Really?
Yeah, no, yeah.
You can burn the internet, you fools.
Although, wait, didn't we invent the internet? And not, like, not you and I, like in Britain.
I understand.
Yeah,
yes.
Didn't we do that?
Yeah, we did. The World Wide Web, yeah.
I feel like I should know that. Who did that? Do you know?
I can't remember his name, but when I discovered that, and made it free, and was just like, this is going to be for everyone to use, and we're just like, mostly porn, thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to bother remembering your name, but thank you for that.
Yeah. Mostly porn. Nice work.
I think that's true, by the way, like statistically. I think more porn is watched than any, like there's more porn sites or more porn is watched for something than anything else on the internet.
I mean, it's the great pastime, isn't it?
Yeah, comedy and porn.
Right? Yeah, you're not hurting anyone. Well, hopefully.
Yes. So, I want to talk about the Fringe a bit.
Yeah.
Right? You were at the Fringe last year.
Yeah.
Last year's the first time I hadn't done the Fringe for like 5 years. So
I didn't do it.
I came up for like 3 days and did some podcasts.
Right.
But we did the Soho Theatre in London, and it was brilliant. Loved it. But yeah, so we couldn't go out, so we couldn't go. But you did a show there.
I did.
last year, and was that your like fourth or is that? Am I right saying fourth or
I think
fifth?
it's like, yeah, maybe my fourth or
Yeah.
third hour, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, third hour, fourth year. I think like the first year I did a double header with Bobby Mayer. And
Oh, cool.
then
Yeah.
like the second year I did my own show. And then I did a week a couple of years
Mm.
ago, but I only did a week run.
I
And my
heard you
show was
talking about
at
that.
1 a.m.
I heard you talking about that on Sophie Hagen's podcast, right? And you were
Oh,
yet to do the show, right? And you were saying I
yeah.
got booked into the 1 a.m. slot. I think that's going to be shit. Was it shit? Was that shit? How was that?
You know what? Actually, it was all right. This is the thing. I loved it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it, but I only did, I think I did just over a week. So let's say I did like 10 days in that
Okay.
slot. And I loved it, but I think you need to be a certain personality type because you're going to have a lot of drunk, coked up people
Yeah.
at your show. So you're going to have to do a lot of like manning the crowd initially. Like there's a lot of like, shut the fuck up. Like you might need to kick out some people before the show starts and stuff like that. But I had a great time. I enjoyed that show more than the 7 p.m. slot that I got last year.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's so funny because a few people have been like, never do 1 a.m., man. Like, you don't want to do 1 a.m. Everyone's going to be really drunk. And I was like, I think drunk people are my audience. Like,
but
I
also,
loved it.
who are you competing with at 1 a.m.? Whereas at 7 o'clock, you're
A
competing with
kebab.
like.
You're competing with a kebab.
But if you really want to watch comedy at 1 a.m., how many people are there? Whereas at 7 p.m., there's 500 shows, like whatever. So
Good
it feels like it's a good
point.
slot to me.
Yeah,
We
I really enjoyed it. I had a really
Yeah.
good time. Yeah, that show was called The Spice Girls Lied to Us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I had a great time. Last year was fucking hell. All I can say is I did it.
Yeah. Was it a slog?
It was a slog because we were meant to be in this one venue called Espionage, and that venue got closed down because they're building a Virgin hotel next door, so they had like loads of sound issues.
Oh,
And
great.
so the organizers were like, "Don't worry, we've got another place." And I thought, you don't. It's Edinburgh. There's no new builds in Edinburgh. Edinburgh's got a castle.
Well, it might be
Edinburgh's
5
got,
miles
like,
outside of Edinburgh, but yeah.
right? They were like, don't worry. And so the venue, location-wise, was great. It was right underneath Three Sisters in a place called the Lockup. And it was called the Lockup because it was a lockup and it was used to store cheese. So it smelled like BV. And if you don't know what that is, imagine a pussy that's been in Spanx for like a year, gone to a festival, and then been taken off. It
I'm just thinking of that.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
And it was really hot. There was a lot of sound issues. There was portaloos in there. No one had like sorted it out to empty them. I remember
There's portaloos in the room.
Like in order, not in the room, like, but the room, it was like a big room that was split into 3. And so the third space, which you initially walked into where the shutters were up, so there wasn't actually any doors, they'd put a bar there. And in order to have a bar, a license for a bar, you have to have toilets. So they'd put these portaloos in, but no one had organized emptying them. And like, I knew it was going to be bad. Like, people would walk in and just be like, yeah. And apparently the place had been used to store cheese for years, and it fucking unbelievable smell. I'd watch people come out of the toilet, stand on the curb and throw up, and then come in and watch your hour. Yeah.
I think I did a gig there last year because we only came up for a few days, but we did a few gigs. Was there a kids show thing, like where it was like comedy for kids or something?
I don't think so.
Did. Oh, well, maybe it's not.
Was it hot as hell, and was there no door?
I remember being shit. I don't remember like how hot it was.
No. You'd remember.
Okay,
it was that bad. You'd remember. And then next to the mic stand, there was a sewage pipe, so you could literally hear a toilet getting flushed throughout the show. And I had like, I think on like maybe a week in, I had a really crappy set, and there was silence where there should have been laughter. But then you
Yeah.
could also hear this toilet flushing, like next to like the comedy timing of it was like,
Yeah, it's like a sound
wow,
effect, like a sound effect in
oh,
an old comedy. Yeah.
yo, man. And they were so over it, and they were so like, who are ya? Um, and everyone just needed air and water,
Right.
and yeah, there was
Thank-
just a toilet flushing, and me getting more and more animated as I realized that it really wasn't going well.
Nice. Did
Basically
you?
crushing it.
Yeah. Did you not drink at the last year's Fringe as well? Is that
No,
right?
no, no,
How's
no.
that?
I
Because I don't
didn't.
drink. I haven't since I was like
Don't you?
17. How was that?
Really?
Yeah.
It was it was good. It was good, but it was also like, when I got to the end of the Fringe, everyone was getting ready to like meet up and drink up, and I ended up going to Sainsbury's, getting bits of food and just sitting at the bus stop and just kind of like, all right then, that's that done then. It was
Yeah.
really, you know what I mean? It was just kind of odd that there was no thing to,
Oh, okay,
like,
like a
there was
big
no like
ending.
celebrate. Yeah, yeah. But personally, as far as stamina through the month, massive help.
Mm.
Massive help.
Mm.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I know people that have like really struggled with Edinburgh in terms of drinking because it's like sort of party or something every night, like there's like the clubs are open and like the sort of bars and members bars and all that are open till like 5 a.m. or something, and then there's a show. I don't know, it just seems like a can be a bit of a dangerous, cocktail.
Oh, massively. I used to drink heavily through the Fringe.
Hmm.
I kind of treated it as like one long mufti day that
Mhm.
lasted a month.
What's a
You know
mufti
what I
day?
mean? Like
No.
an own clothes day at school.
Oh
You know,
yeah, 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 yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like one long month, just like, yeah,
You used to call it a mufti day.
yeah. I used to call it mufti day, and yeah, just by the end, you're just like, you're broken. You can't.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. Also, you've got these crazy adrenaline spikes every day, and if you're
Yeah.
doing multiple gigs a day, eventually you just lose steam. Can't
Yeah.
keep that.
Yeah, I found it difficult enough not drinking. Like like always halfway through the Fringe, I always get like a sort of. I have one day where I feel like shit, and I like almost can't move. I'm like so exhausted,
Right,
and then I'm just
right.
fine again the day after. I don't know what that is. It's just like,
It's fatigue.
yeah,
Fatigue. I think that's
fatigue.
normal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of adrenaline up and
Yeah.
down, and a lot of eating crap. I mean, no one's like going to the Fringe and eating beet salads every day,
No,
are you?
no,
No.
no. I had what I used to have almost every day at the Fringe because it was quick. Is we lived above a Lidl one year, so I'd go in the Lidl, I'd get pasta, pesto, and peas, and I put them all in a pot, cook that, eat that every day for the whole month because it
And
was
you know
like
what?
a few quid. Yeah,
That's healthy. That's a healthy diet for the Fringe.
it might be healthy, but I can't eat pesto anymore. I can only eat pesto during the Fringe because it just reminds me of that now. And
Really?
it's rank. It's rank now. Can't do it. I
Yeah,
can't do
so taste of sadness and disappointment.
it.
I can't enjoy it.
It's weird, right? Because the Fringe is where I don't know what happened, but when we started doing the Fringe, we like somehow we had no money. We did our first show like with like no budget, and somehow it went really well. And the Fringe has always been the place we went to get money, right? To actually make some money. So we always found that London and other places was much harder. Do you think it's easy now for a stand up to make money? In general, how easy is it for a stand up to make money? How have you
I
found that?
would say, I mean, it depends what your expenses are.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, if you rent a room somewhere and you don't mind being frugal and you don't have a car and you don't
mm,
have kids and you don't have a partner who maybe wants to do stuff together, then living on stand up can be doable. And I guess it depends at what level you are at stand up. You
yeah,
definitely have to do stand up for a while, making zero money in order to then make money. Personally, I've always got jobs off the back of doing stand up
yeah,
in one way or another. you know. So that's how I've always got jobs that maybe pay better than stand up, but I've always got the job in one way or another off the back of being a stand up comic.
And is stand up the thing do you always come back to it because you like it, or were you going to do a show this year at the Fringe?
No, I actually decided
weren't?
this year I wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you but you still like doing stand up? Do you still something you enjoy?
I love it. Listen, to be, you know, being a comic is almost like being a hairdresser. You know, like one of those talents that you can take anywhere in the world and still do it. It's sort of like, to be able to make people laugh is a gift. And even if you don't make people laugh that night, the fact that you got up on stage and that was your intention is it's a beautiful thing to be able to do. And I think it is something that continuously makes you check in with being humble. You can never get your head jammed up your ass too much when you know there's such a high possibility of humiliating yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how good at it you get. You know it's coming. It's round the corner. It's in the post. So I love the fact that I can express myself on stage. I love the fact that I get to do an art form that isn't bound too much by race, class, or gender. As far as getting in the room, that might be a problem, but once you're on stage, it's a great equalizer. Do you know what I mean? It's like to know that your job is to make people laugh. Like, that's awesome. So yeah, I think all of those things can be factors in making it hard to get where you need to go. But once you're on that stage, we are, as comics, all equal.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful thing that you don't find in many professions.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So obviously in the last sort of few weeks, there's been an awful lot of stuff happening around Black Lives Matter. Right. And what I wanted to ask was, so black comedians have been talking about inequalities of race for years, right? And it's I think people have often dismissed it as like a bit, as like, oh, that's just like black comedians are like doing a bit, right? About, you know, do you think that the attitudes to that might change now in clubs and stuff like that? Do you think there's more of an understanding about that?
I tell you what's maybe a better thing to look at is in the last few years, we've seen this wave of white male comics using that as like their angle. Like, I'm gonna be a right-wing male comic. That's my shtick, right? And that
you like put on for, you mean like for comic
as in calling their shows that. I've seen comics call their shows like the last great white male, or I'm a right-wing male. Right, you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was in response to comics of color and different genders speaking about it, and them feeling some sort of like disgruntled in some way, like you're using that as your angle without realizing you're just speaking about yourself. The way you comic, who's a male comic, can continuously talk about your penis because you've got one, and so you talk about it. And we live in a free country, and so keep on doing your dick jokes. That's fine, whatever. Good, nice one. Hope it's funny. But what's interesting is what I saw with that is like, this seemed to be a direct response of having a lot of comics finally being able to speak about these things without having to make jokes about their race at the expense of themselves to make a predominantly white audience laugh at you, possibly not with you.
Yeah.
So I would kind of more see that as something that I found interesting, like the last couple of years being in Edinburgh and being like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is all
I know what you mean, actually.
Like so to me that's more actually telling about things, is that these a lot of white male comics, and some that I were like, you know, friends with, and going like, why are you why are you using this as an angle? Because clearly you don't have these views. And them saying to me, well, I need an angle. And it's like, oh, it's interesting that you think, like I would get told a lot, and I used to say this in my set where, you know, people go, oh, it's all right for you, Michelle, you're Jewish, you're black, you're bisexual, you know.
You have something to talk about.
I'm finding it really hard in stand-up at the moment. I'm just like a fat white male comic. I've got to work twice as hard. And I'd go, oh, that's a shame, friend. You know what you could do if you're finding it hard in comedy as a white male comic? Any other fucking job, mate. Like literally any other job. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you think that me mentioning these things and maybe not even like leaning on them, like I said in my early career, where I would definitely be like, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this, which I don't think is any different from a comic just starting and going, I'm a middle class white man and I'm going to rap for you. Isn't that funny? Because it's like so out of context. That kind of makes it funny. The things that we do in it, but regardless, I am all of those things. And so my experiences and the things that I'm going to talk about are going to be drawn from that. And it was interesting that these guys felt disgruntled by it. Like, you've got this thing, like it's a thing that you've got. And to that, I go, suck your mum.
Yes. There we go.
Suck it. Go on, get your face in there and take a nice big huff and then jog on.
Yes.
Peter.
But I think you're right, because like for years, right, people have gone, oh, well, you know, I don't know, black comedians always talk about being black, blah, blah, blah. But surely it's the same thing when, I don't know, when Michael McIntyre is talking about his man draw, right? It's surely the same thing. It's just that appeals to, I don't know, a white audience who maybe are the main bulk of people who watch that program.
Michael,
do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And I think that, sorry, let me just get my fucking charger.
Sorry.
What does Michael McIntyre lean on? He leans on his persona is being middle class, white upper middle class dad, right? That's who he is. That's his identity, right?
Yeah.
So if there's a comic, let's say someone that I love, like Dane Baptiste, who speaks about his experiences, and his experiences are coming from a place of being from London, being black, being a male. What's the fucking problem with that? Like, is that any different from Sean Locke being a grumpy old git? That's his persona.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about persona, but we're also talking about identity. And it's interesting when we are, because, and also who says this? It's mostly white people and like white comics that'll be like, oh, he's always talking about race.
Yeah. It's
an
easy. Yeah, they'll say, and I'm doing quotation marks, sorry, just for anyone who's listened to this, but they'll say like it's an easy angle.
Exactly. And the fact that you think it's an angle. Now, of course, there's some things where you're gonna talk about it. And I think where, you know, like, I think talk about whatever's relevant to you that you feel passionate about. And if it feels authentic, you should be able to speak about it. And if you happen to be a comic of color and you mention it, I don't think that should be seen as, yeah, you're doing race stuff. Personally, I don't speak about my ethnicity that much. I used to do when I first started, but there's just things that are more that I just, you know, I don't not speak about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but I
you
also
don't have to.
Right, exactly.
Like, who's saying you have to? Like, that's the thing that I think is weird. It's like it works both ways, right? It's you also don't have to go, oh yeah, like you said, like you started out obviously, and it was like the advice you gave to me is sort of your first thought of what you are is the best thing to do. But then you get past that, and I'm hoping that'll happen with me, that to a point where you're a comedian where you can talk about so many other things than just your, I suppose, the initial preconception of what the audience think when they look at you.
Right. And I mean, it was the same in gigging in New York. I don't really mention that I'm British. I'll talk about things that I don't understand about America, right? So I might be like, you guys say egg salad. There's no fucking salad in it. It's just mayo. You lot are calling mayonnaise salad. You absolute freaks. Like, what are you doing?
Online. It was funny.
Now, I don't feel like I've lived out there for so long. I don't feel like I need to get on stage and be like, I'm English. These are the things that happen in England. I think it's obvious I'm English. And
do they want that as well? Like, do the audience actually want that?
People just want to fucking laugh. It doesn't bloody matter.
That's it, innit?
If you're funny, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit. No one's going to get off stage unless you've got, I've got a really strong English accent, right? Like I'm definitely from London. Yeah. There's not like I don't think anyone's going to be leaving a gig of mine in New York and going, I wonder where she's from.
Yeah.
I was like, what colour is she?
Was that an Australian accent?
Right. I wonder, and sometimes I think it doesn't fucking matter, man. I mean, I speak to some people that have been in the game longer and they're like, you should definitely stay at the top, what your ethnicity is, what country you're from, how old you are, because people are going to spend the whole gig thinking about it. And I'm like, no, but I think you've got, I just can't be asked sometimes.
I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're not. But what's no one goes out to a comedy club to sit there and think about where the person's from. You're right. They just want to laugh, right? You can come out and do like a most absurdist humour and no one's sitting there thinking, I wonder where they're from, right? They're just hopefully laughing. I think
there's some really good comics, especially in London. We've got some really great comics that speak about their race or their country of origin or their class, and it's really funny. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying funny shit.
Yes.
The end. You know what I mean? The end.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a cliched question, I think, but we're sort of coming towards the end now. What advice would you give to somebody maybe who's in exactly the same position as you? They had a job for a long time and doing something, and then they want to sort of branch into comedy. They want to leave something they've been doing for a long time. Because I think it's always like young comics, but I'm not bothered about young. Like people have been doing something else and they want a complete change. They want to do comedy. What's the advice for someone starting out?
Write a 3-minute set. It doesn't have to be long. It can be 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I would say think about who you are and why that's funny. Just to get it in the bag. It don't matter. Look, this ain't going to be your Apollo set. It's fine. Just to get your ass up on stage. I wouldn't plan too much. I would just go and do an open mic. Sit at the open mic, write a set. Don't do what you did, George. Just go up on stage and just start having a little banter. Yeah. Write something that, and you're allowed. You can, if it's your first open mic set, you can take a bit of paper on stage. And actually, George, I'll take that back because I think the most important thing is getting on stage, right? Yeah. Go to an open mic night. Sit there for ages. Your nerves will quickly dissipate because there's such a mixed bag there that hopefully that will fill you with confidence that you can go, I think I'm better than that person, which is fine. And then get up on stage. And also don't leave your job.
Yeah, that's a really good one, yeah.
Don't leave your job. And aim to try and do a few open nights a week. Aim to try and give yourself some goals. Like, you know what, by like this time next month, I want to have done 20 open mic nights. That's doable. And start to get to know comics. And the people that I started open mics with are now on TV. So like, if that's really what you want to do,
so are you.
So yeah, but I mean, like, if that's really what you want to do, do it because you're passionate about it. Don't do it because you're going to make money from it, because I think when you go in with those intentions, it doesn't always work out like that. I think you'll normally make money because you did something for free. That's the only place I've normally made money, is like I got this money job because I did this other job for no money.
Yeah. Well, it's exposure. I think that's really good advice. It's getting out there and doing something.
Yeah, so I would say like you don't have to tell anyone, you don't have to bring any of your friends. Just look on Google, find somewhere far out. Don't spend too much time writing. Just get like 3 minutes worth of
Hmm.
stage time and then get up on stage and just read off the bit of paper that you've got in your hand. It's totally fine. Get that out the way. That's the hardest bit. You can spend a year talking about doing a
Mm.
gig and not do one. So just get that bit done. And then once you've done that, pat yourself on the back and, you know, welcome to the cringe factor of lying in bed going, oh, for fuck's sake. It doesn't matter because no one's going to give a shit about this more than you. It's really important to face some of these fears and you'll be proud of yourself. Even if you embarrassed yourself, you'll be proud of yourself.
Mm. Oh, that sums that up in a really nice way. Just before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to plug? I mean, are you doing anything in this
I mean,
lockdown
actually,
world?
yeah, I'm not quite sure if I'm allowed to say it, but
Oh, exciting!
yeah, I've got a sitcom coming out on a platform in September,
Oh
and I'm
man,
not
that's so
sure.
cool.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I'll just say that because
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
say
Because
what
that's
platform
vague.
it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
but yeah, it's one
Because
that everyone
it could be
has.
YouTube or Instagram. So that's
It
vague.
isn't.
Yeah, yeah.
It isn't. It's better.
I'm trying to help you out, but
I know.
you really want to tell me.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
fine. Fair enough.
but I will say this: if it's about trying to like inspire people, is that
Yeah.
I got this job because I made a short film for fuck all money,
Hmm.
and that's how I got this job. So I'm
Wow.
just a big believer in just doing some random stuff. And every time I've done that, when I did Cock Talk, the radio show, I got
Hmm.
Vice, and I made this short film that I was like, how hard can it be? Turns out quite hard.
Mm.
And then I got this other job. So hopefully in September it's out and all will be revealed then. And
Cool.
maybe I don't know when this is coming out, George, but
Next few weeks, hopefully.
oh, okay. Well, you never know; it might have been official by then. But yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, thanks so much. It was really nice to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Michelle for that. Follow her on Twitter. Follow all these people on Twitter, like I've said before, but follow her on Twitter, and all the information's below. And see what she's up to next. That's seems like exciting things are in the pipeline that she couldn't speak about. So we'll see what they are. Maybe they've been announced by now. Don't know. We'll see. So yes, last episode. 2 more episodes to go. 2 parts of 1 episode because it was quite long. Anyway, more about that tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Rose and I'm the Chief Executive of the charity Stop Hate UK. We're so pleased that Comedians After Hours have chosen to support our work during the making of their 2nd series. The work of Stop Hate UK is so vital and even more important after the tragic killing of George Floyd. So if you're inspired by this podcast, please visit our website at stophateuk.org and click on the heart-shaped button and donate to us to enable us to continue our work. Thank you so much.